Hello everybody. Hope you're doing well. Let's start today's session with a beautiful story.
This incident took place on a plane.
All the passengers were happily enjoying the ride.
Suddenly, all the passengers were informed that the plane will not be landing as the tires were stuck.
So all the passengers started to curse their life. They lost their hopes and they were in panic. But a young man saw a little girl contemplating the beauty of the clouds.
Seeing this, the man was perplexed.
But after some time, by the grace of God, the plane could land and all the passengers were safe.
While moving out, the young man approached to the little girl and asked her, why wasn't she panicked?
Then the girl with a smiling face answered that the pilot of the plane was her father and she believed that her father would take her safe.
Now, let me ask you some questions. Why was the girl not bothered about the problem? What was the thing that kept her safe and calm? Was it just the mere belief or something else?
The girl was not bothered because she had a tremendous belief, or I could tell, tremendous faith. Now, the next question that pops out of your mind is what is this new word, faith?
Faith is a strong belief, shraddha or dedication on anything which in turn gives us confidence.
Next, let me ask you a question. Do you know your date of birth? Yes, obviously. I do, you do, and everybody does. But do you know what is so special about it?
How can you surely tell that it is your date of birth? Indeed, it is because you were informed by your parents and you do have tremendous faith on your parents which made you believe that so and so is your date of birth.
My dear friends, the whole life is a leap of faith. Have faith on your parents, on your friends, on your relations, and more importantly, a tremendous faith on the Supreme Father. It is the God.
Now, with due respect, let me quote Swami Vivekananda. Have faith that you are all my brave lads, born to do great things. Let not the barks of puppies frighten you. No, not even the thunderbolts of heaven.
With this beautiful quote, let us enter the lesson. A letter to the God.
By G.L. Fuentes.
This story shows us an unfailing faith of Mr. Lencho on God.
And also, Lencho is trying to make a correspondence with God. Hmm, correspondence. This looks pretty interesting, right?
Now, let us start the story. Before you read, they say faith can move mountains, but what should we put our faith in? This is the question the story delicately poses.
Lencho is a farmer who writes a letter to God when his crops are ruined, asking for 100 pesos. Does Lencho's letter reach God? Does God send him the money? Think what your answers to these questions would be, and guess how the story continues before you begin to read it.
The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From the height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now we are going to get some water, women. The woman who was preparing supper replied, yes, God willing. The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the women called to them all, come for dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and little ones are fives.
With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers wrapped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly, a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly. For an hour, the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lancho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, a plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There's no one who can help us. We'll all go hungry this year.
Now, here are a few keywords which one must know. Crest, which means top of a hill. Supper, evening meal. Draped, covered, mainly with cloth. Locust, which means insects which fly in big swarms and destroy crops. At last, plague. This is not the disease plague. It is an unusual large numbers of insects or infesting animals. I think you have got a rough sketch about the story. So let me ask few questions to test your understanding. First question, what is the suitable title for this part of the lesson which you would like to give?
I would suggest Pleasure of Rain.
That is good. The next question, where did the incident take place?
This incident took place on the crest of a low hill where Mr. Lencho lived.
That is correct.
Now, the next question which I would like to ask is, who are the people involved in the first part?
The people who are involved in this part of the story are Mr. Lencho and his family members. Now it is homework time. So your homework for today will be write a news report on the above incident with heading, place of occurrence and explaining the event.
Explaining must be done with 5 W's and 1 H. That is, why, what, when, where, who, and how.
Now, few more questions might pop out of your head. That is, how will he overcome the situation? Will he write a letter to the God? Will the God receive it? And will the God come to help Mr. Lencho?
A lot of questions, right? The answer to all these questions will be answered in the next session. This is Arnav, Nishant, and Prajan signing out for today.
Meet you all in the next video. I expect that you will be done with your homework and prepared for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you.